my point of view, the Jedi are evil. Well, then you are lost.
Welcome to the We Are Lost podcast. This is a podcast that we're going to be starting. Me and my friend Nick. Nick, if you want to introduce yourself to the people.
What's up, guys? I'm Nick. I'm Justin's friend. Here to give you a more casual viewpoint of stuff he's going to be delving into.
Yeah, so Nick is he's a casual movie fan and casual movie goer. But he's a very big Star Wars fan, and he knows a lot of lore behind Star Wars. Like, he's watched a lot of videos and all that stuff. So he's gonna be a good second perspective on a lot of the things because he doesn't.
I'm gonna be more casual.
Yeah, he's kind of the casual side of the conversation, and I'm gonna be more of like the in-depth, like picking apart movies.
You're gonna be explaining a lot of things.
Yeah,
a lot.
I'm gonna try to not talk too much. It's hard. It's because I like talking about Star Wars and movies so much, but this podcast isn't gonna be just Star Wars, just for maybe the first episode, maybe the first two, maybe three. But it's gonna be mostly centered around movies, but we're really just talking about whatever we want, with the conversation sparking from movies most of the time. The main topic is going to be about movies,
right?
But we'll just talk about whatever we want, like, and just in the flow of conversation, whatever comes up. So yeah, you have anything else you want to say?
No, I'm just really excited to talk about some Star Wars and see what we have opinions on. So
same, and we're also going to be doing reaction videos and things like that. Also, Nick's starting a channel, and if the channel is made by the time this posts, then I'll link it in the description. So if you want to go check out Nick's channel, make sure you go click the link in the description. And I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast.
The We Are Lost podcast.
Yeah,
we're here.
So let's get into how you were introduced to Star Wars and what your earliest memories of it was.
My earliest memory of Star Wars, growing up, my dad had the VHS box set, complete set, 1 through, well, not back then, but he had 4, 5, and 6. Mm-hmm. And then as it came out, as I was growing up, he would buy them and we'd watch them. I never saw them in theaters, but I used to just watch for the action.
Yeah.
And when I turned 11, started paying attention to the story, getting into the lore, and actually understanding the story and all like the connections within the story.
Yeah, the poetry and stuff.
Yeah, so I realized that, it was like, it wasn't only about the fights. The fights were really cool, but the story was really in depth, and like it was like a drama.
And it enhances the fights too.
Yeah, it's like a drama. It's like interesting. So many of these different fathers and sons and characters. I loved it. I just ended up really getting into it, and I'm a big fan.
George Lucas even said that Star Wars isn't sci-fi movies; it's actually space dramas. That's what he defines it as.
Yeah, I remember him saying that, and ever since then, that's how I always thought about the movies.
Yeah.
Ever since I saw him say that,
the story is definitely better than like the average sci-fi movie. Like, definitely. Yeah. So.
Like fucking Star Trek. Who likes that shit? No one.
Well, bro, chill out. There's a lot of Star Trek fans. But so I guess we'll get into my story. I was at my grandma's house one day, and I was just like super bored. And
how old were you back then?
It was before Revenge of the Sith.
So 4?
Yeah, maybe 4 or 5. I can't remember. But I was just at my grandma's house. I was super bored. I was begging my parents to go home. Didn't want to be there anymore. So he just brought me in the back, put me in my uncle's room. And The Phantom Menace was on TV. Had no idea what was going on. Started off in the middle of the movie. It was on TNT because they do those like marathons or whatever of Star Wars. And I think it was at the part where they were meeting Anakin. But then I was like, yeah, this is okay, like whatever. But then they started fighting Darth Maul, and I was like hooked. So yeah,
I think everyone was as a kid. Like if that was the first thing you saw, Darth Maul fight.
I had no idea what was happening, but I was like, this is so cool. Like I want to keep watching.
Hell yeah.
So then, I think Attack of the Clones was already out. So then I watched that one right after, and then I just couldn't wait to go see Revenge of the Sith in the movies. But like I really can't remember watching Attack of the Clones at all. But I remember the first time I saw Revenge of the Sith in the movies, like I was still little, so like some parts scared me. Like I remember when Anakin was having the dream about Padme and she was like dying, I was so scared. I was like I told my dad I was going to sleep, and I just like put my head in his shoulder. I was like,
"Oh my god, you're scared that bad of that shit?"
Yeah, that was scary, man.
That's funny as fuck. Because I have never once been scared of Star Wars, except for when Episode 2, when Obi-Wan and Anakin were fighting Dooku, and like he was about to kill Anakin. I'm not Anakin, Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
And Anakin jumped in that shit. I was like, "Ooh, baby, go get that shit."
I do remember watching Attack of the Clones for the first time. There's one part I remember, and it was when Anakin was dual wielding the lightsabers.
Yeah,
Obi-Wan and Anakin's lightsaber. That was cool.
Like when you threw him the lightsaber and you like caught it. Oh, yeah. That shit was so fun, fucking cool.
Okay, so now we're gonna get into what your favorite movie and favorite character is in the Star Wars universe.
For me, my favorite character is Anakin. As stereotypical as that sounds, like
now, a lot of people hate Anakin. So
I mean, I love him. I think the progression of the character of Anakin and how, like, you see him try to do the right thing, and he was just mistreated up until Episode 3, and seeing him, like, his character torn in two pieces, basically trying to do the right thing, but also still has all these attachments, which he shouldn't have. And he was a chosen one. He was I like the way he dueled too. Like he was very aerial and like very. It always caught my eyes.
Like
a
flashy way of like fighting.
Yeah, and I always thought like as a kid, like obviously Hayden Christensen, like he just like.
Yeah, he's the best.
I'm not trying to look sus or anything, but like he's an attractive guy. I was like, damn, I want to be like Anakin when I grow up. Like,
yeah,
he was like this is the most badass character in my opinion. Like he didn't even have to like practice or train that hard, and he was already like fucking god. He was just really good. So I always enjoyed him and the evolution of his character.
What about your favorite movie?
My favorite movie is Episode 3.
Revenge of the Sith.
Yep. Just like everyone. I think everyone's favorite movie is that, except for, unless you're fucking old.
Yeah, the old people, they always like Empire Strikes Back, but Empire Strikes Back is good.
It's very good. I love it, but
yeah, it's just not Revenge of the Sith. I think it's just because of the era that we were brought up in. Like we just grew up with those movies, so that's why we like them more.
Yeah, and growing up, like I feel like some old people like think that Episode 3 is really good because that's when they tie the whole story together, and I feel like the writing for that one was actually like the most solid.
Well, for sure. Like I'm not trying to be like that guy, but I study film like a good bit.
Yeah, you are that guy.
So, but yeah, so I love The Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. They're good and everything. They're not good movies. Jar Jar Binks kind of ruins a lot of the parts, but they're not good movies. But they're good Star Wars, and I love them. And the same thing applies for Revenge of the Sith, except for it's a better movie, a better film than the first two, but it's also better Star Wars. So it's just better all around. It's just a great movie. Yeah, that's my favorite movie too. So, but yeah, my favorite character is Kylo, and it's because, so I really like Anakin, and I think Kylo is just like Anakin in a lot of ways. Like he's really cool. Not as attractive.
Similar arcs though.
Yeah, same arc pretty much. I mean, yeah, exactly the same.
Yeah.
But I feel like we get to see Kylo in his prime longer. We get to see Kylo in his prime for 3 movies, and we only get to see Anakin for 1 in Revenge of the Sith.
Right.
I mean, I guess in Attack of the Clones we can a little bit, but he's not Revenge of the Sith Anakin in Attack of the Clones. And yeah, I just like how Kylo has like all these temper tantrums and stuff, and a lot of people like shit on him for having the temper tantrums, but he's like super unstable. Even his lightsaber is unstable, like his kyber crystal. It's like, like the.
I don't know if that's still canon with the crystals being how your
it is
your force affiliation.
Yeah, it is.
That's probably like explains why it was so unstable.
Yeah, I actually did a video on that. So.
Wait, what?
I said I actually did a video on that. So go look that up. How Kylo did his lightsaber. How Kylo made his lightsaber. But yeah. So I just like. Yeah, the same thing. I like the way he fights. Like his stance. His lightsaber's cool. He looks cool. He's pretty much just Anakin, but we get to see him for longer. So
his stance and fighting style, I feel like, is a lot more reminiscent of like the fights in 4 through 6. Yeah. Because like when they fight, it feels like he has more weight to his attacks. It's like not as like aerial and like fast as like Anakin's and stuff like that. Like from 1 through 3.
Yeah.
But I do like that fighting style, how they change it up and then just keep the same shit.
His movements are slower, but you can tell they have more power behind like his swings and stuff.
Definitely, yeah. He had a lot of force going in there.
Yeah, but like the blade is way longer, and like he just.
I never noticed that his blade is actually really fucking long. Yeah. It's like the lightsaber equivalent of a broadsword.
Yeah,
is what it is. Okay, this is something I've been wanting to ask you for a while. I know we both saw Rise of Skywalker together, but when we did, we walked out feeling very weird about it. Because we didn't know how we felt. Like, it was such a different movie compared to all the other Star Wars movies. But I ended up liking it in the end, and so I want to know what you think about it.
Alright, so for the Rise of Skywalker, it was kind of the first movie that I saw that I was... So, for The Last Jedi, I saw it, and I just saw it as a Star Wars fan.
Right.
So I loved it, because it's a good movie. So fuck you if you don't like The Last Jedi. Okay. But, yeah, so The Rise of Skywalker, the last couple of years I've been studying film and stuff, so I'm a lot more... I picked the movies apart more than I did when I saw The Last Jedi. So The Rise of Skywalker was kind of a bad movie to see for my first Star Wars movie as like a film student, because there's a lot of things wrong with that movie, a lot, when it comes to that. I do think it was a good Star Wars movie in the sense of if you went to see the movie just to see lightsaber fights and the Force and Palpatine and Rey and Kylo, yeah. If you went to see and if you hated The Last Jedi, it's a good movie because they retcon like everything from The Last Jedi. But if you went to see The Rise of Skywalker looking for a good movie, then it's not that. But it is good Star Wars, I guess.
Right.
I don't like it because I felt like it was kind of actually insulting because of how they treated you like you were stupid. And every time, I liked how in The Last Jedi, like, they let you figure stuff out for yourself instead of like explaining everything. Like,
yeah,
so every time in The Rise of Skywalker, it felt like they were gonna be like, let you figure something out. Somebody pops up and they're like, oh, this is why that happened. Instead of just in The Last Jedi, they were like, they would let you figure out the hidden meaning behind things that happen instead of just explaining everything to you. And I felt like insulted, not just because of that, but just because I felt like not sci-fi movies, but just fantasy movies, I guess, are kind of going in that direction, like with Endgame and stuff. Just like throwing fan service at you with no plot. Endgame had more plot, but I just don't like that direction that movies are heading in, and especially it seems like Disney, they took the Endgame template and just kind of put it on The Rise of Skywalker to shut fans up. And I just don't want fantasy movies to go in that direction. I want it to be more like The Last Jedi, and I think that fans kind of ruined it for us, and now we're not going to see another movie like The Last Jedi for a while. So yeah, that's my thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. I wasn't the biggest fan of the Rise of Skywalker, but I ended up liking it in the end because I like how they close it. They close it okay, except for the kiss. Like, fuck that. Yeah. But other than that, like...
It was super awkward, dude. Like, I wouldn't have minded the kiss. Like, I really wouldn't have, but just the way that like, it was executed. Like, it just felt like they shot it in reshoots or something, or they didn't even shoot it in reshoots.
Yeah,
they, like, used, like, a different scene, like, and just, like, blue screened it or something.
Right.
And, like, yeah, the way Kylo dies after is, like, so awkward. Like,
that's what I don't like about it, is because it kind of takes away from the spotlight of him, like, redeeming himself and dying. Like, that's a very pinnacle moment in the whole trilogy that we've been waiting for. And then they just have them kiss, and, like, everyone's like, they kiss, Reylo, whatever. But then Kylo's fucking dead, but he redeems himself. Like, that's what you should be taken away from the scene, in my opinion. Like, he's a whole full circle coming back.
Right.
And so, that's what I didn't like about it. But I think Rise of Skywalker was a good movie in the end. Like, I do want to see it again. I saw it twice, and I want to see it again.
I'll see it again.
I love it. I'm going to buy it on
Even
DVD.
though I don't like the movie, I've seen it 3 times. And, like, I love seeing it because it's Star Wars. But I, like... Just because, like, when I talk about Star Wars movies, if I say I don't like it, that doesn't mean I don't like it. Like, I would still rather watch it than watch 99% of other movies just because it's Star Wars. But it's just, like, compared to The Last Jedi, compared to The Force Awakens, it's just not as good, in my opinion. But, yeah, you can keep going.
Yeah, I mean, The Rise of Skywalker, with the plot holes and shit like that, I do feel like I'm more of a casual movie viewer, so it didn't bother me as much, but it was so noticeable. Like, the first 30 minutes were them fixing
The Last
Jedi to fit their narrative, and I don't even know if that was J.J. Abrams' like
nobody knows
intention. No one knows. Like, that might have been Disney's doing. Like, because of all the backlash. Who knows? But yeah, the plot holes, they were a little noticeable, but other than that, I can move past those. And sorry, the monitor just went off. But
you can keep talking.
Yeah, the overall story, I felt, was them recovering, and they like if they would have stuck with J.J. Abrams the whole time, J.J. Abrams would have been down to do the whole thing. I think that the story would have been way more consistent, and it would have been way like better.
Or unpopular opinion, if Rian Johnson would have done the whole thing, then I think it would have been the best Star Wars trilogy. I'm gonna get so much shit for that, but I think it would have been the best Star Wars trilogy.
You're gonna have to explain yourself for that one because they're not gonna take it.
Well, I mean, I just love The Last Jedi, and like the way people say it diverted expectations just for the sake of diverting expectations, but I see it as like I'd rather you divert expectations for the sake of diverting expectations than to just divert no expectations.
Yeah,
it's like the Rise of Skywalker. Like everybody knew what was gonna happen. I mean, obviously the whole movie got leaked, and all the leaks were true, so everybody knew it was going to happen that way.
Right.
But I don't know. Maybe it's two different sides. There's the people that are hardcore movie fans, and they would probably rather the Rian Johnson trilogy. And then there's casual fans who would rather the J.J. Abrams trilogy, because The Force Awakens, again, like I loved it, even though it's not a good movie. Like it's not The Last Jedi.
Right.
It's just fun, but I loved it, like, way more than The Rise of Skywalker. It was way more fun than The Rise of Skywalker to me, but anyway, you can keep going.
Yeah, I mean, Rise of Skywalker, total, like, my final verdict, if I was going to rate it out of 10, I would give it a solid 8, because they did come back and, like, close it pretty well. Palpatine's finally fully dead, which I think he did die. Like, he probably did die.
He did die.
I'm sure, because
they said the Sith acolytes or whatever those
people that are chanting.
Yeah, I think it's acolytes, but I don't know. They like revived him after he died.
Yeah,
so, I don't know how that works. I don't know how the Death Star blows up into smithereens. And
was that explained in the book, the visual book?
Not that I know of, but yeah, go check that video out as well.
Which one? Plug it.
The Visual Dictionary book video. I forgot what it's called, but it's like one of my recent videos. But yeah, I don't know how does Palpatine fall down the shaft and Death Star blows up, and his body is still intact to revive. I don't even understand. How is there pieces of the Death Star still intact enough to climb through when the Death Star blew up? And there was no pieces when the Death Star blew up. You saw no pieces. You just saw fire. But whatever. I mean, that doesn't really bother me too much at all. It's more of the pacing of the movie, where it's like, especially in the beginning, the first 30 minutes, like you said, where it's just like jumping from this to this to this to this, just trying so hard to fit two movies in one movie, and it's just not. You can't make a good movie like that. So, in a way, I don't blame JJ if that's not his decision. I love JJ. His other movies are great, but if that's not his decision to try to fit two movies in one and try to fix one movie while making a whole nother movie at the same time, I don't blame him then, because other than that, I think the movie's pretty good. It's fun to watch. I actually like the character Rey. A lot of people don't. I actually like the character Rey, and I like Kylo, so those characters alone kind of carry the movie for me. But yeah, other than the fact that they tried to fit two movies in one, I like it. I think it was fun. But yeah, my first reaction to it was just confusion. Like I just had no idea what to think, because I've never seen a Star Wars movie in theaters that I didn't just love. Like, it was just a weird feeling for me to walk out of a Star Wars movie not just ecstatic and like can't wait to go see it again.
Yeah, I remember the car ride home. We rode together, and the car ride home, like, we wanted to talk about it so bad.
Yeah.
We didn't have anything to say.
Yeah,
like,
just nothing.
We can delve like through all the stuff that happened in the movie. It was pretty jam packed from start to finish.
Yeah, that's a cool part of it too, especially for a casual fan. Which, I mean, when it comes to Star Wars, I pretty much am like a casual moviegoer. Like, I just like to see cool shit.
Right.
But yeah, I can't help myself, and I'm trying to get better at it. Like, just go and see movies just to enjoy movies. but it's hard. Like when there's such glaring things, and especially when it's a franchise that's like so close to my heart and like I care about it so much, to see like somebody mess it up, like mess a movie up.
That's somebody. It's Disney, bro.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you.
But then Disney, I don't know. I just feel like we should be more thankful for the sequel trilogy than we are. Like people complain that Disney's ruining Star Wars, but
we wouldn't have it.
We don't like
without Disney.
Yeah, there was nothing that was saying that we were guaranteed this trilogy ever. Like,
right.
George said he was done because everybody shat all over the prequels. So we were extremely lucky that Disney bought Star Wars, and maybe it could have got bought by somebody else, like Fox or Sony or somebody, and maybe they could have made it better. They probably would have made it better, but that's just jumping to conclusions, and you can't really. I think we just take it for granted too much. The fact that we even got more movies, and we got to see Luke Skywalker on screen again. We got to see Leia and Han on screen again.
Right.
Got to see Chewie, even though they're not portrayed in the way that you would like them to be portrayed. Some of them.
Right.
But we still got to see them on screen again, and they still had their moments. Like rewatching The Last Jedi, seeing that scene when Luke walks out, and like literally earlier in the movie he said, "Do you want me to go out there and face down the whole First Order with the laser sword?" Like saying it sarcastically, and he literally faced the whole First Order with the laser sword at the end of the movie, and that's just like that's the type of shit that I want to see in all Star Wars movies. Like that kind of like poetry where you have to watch it more than once to understand, and then like just the little details, especially in the final like 20 minutes. The details that Rian Johnson puts into it, and like the cinematography, like those shots are crazy. It looks like I don't watch anime, that shit's stupid, but it looks like an anime movie with live action characters on there. Like just the way it's shot does not look real at all, but it's so good at the same time.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree. I'm very, very grateful for the trilogy that we just got from Disney, because I'm sure, since he said it was done and everyone shit on him so hard, like he's getting old too. Yeah. He doesn't need money. He doesn't like. I'm sure he still very much cares about his story that he worked on all his life. But
for sure,
I think him selling it was a good decision on his part in the end.
I mean, yeah, and they said that they were going to use him as a consultant.
They didn't,
but they didn't, and you could tell like for The Force Awakens, he was around Star Wars like the entire time. He was around like the creation. He was always on the set. He was at the premiere. But then The Last Jedi came around. We started seeing less and less pictures of him. Right. Started seeing Luke or Mark Hamill talking shit about the movie, like indirectly, like giving us these little, what do you call it, like, yeah, so Mark Hamill was like putting out some subliminal messages like in interviews and all that stuff, saying how he didn't like the movie even before the movie even came out for The Last Jedi. He was saying like, just giving us little hints and stuff that I mean, I like the movie, but that some fans weren't gonna like the movie, and obviously he didn't like the movie, but he has a bias. Like he's in the movie, he's been playing Luke Skywalker for his whole life.
He was the main character of the original 3, so
yeah, and like I'm sure when he signed on to play these next movies, he thought he was gonna be like God mode Luke, like showing definitely what Luke could have been at like his highest power instead of showing Hermit Luke. So I mean, he had a reason to complain about it, but I still love the movie. So
yeah, definitely. And you know, Mark Hamill, he was like, yeah, he thought that throwing the lightsaber back was disrespectful. You know, they kind of redeemed that in the Rise of Skywalker when he caught it as a Force Ghost, which is insane.
That's one thing that's one thing about The Last Jedi that I can agree with. Like throwing a lightsaber, like Luke wouldn't do that. Like no matter how far down the hole he fell, he would never do that to a lightsaber. So that's one complaint that I can understand about The Last Jedi. That
lightsaber is what he saw first that Obi-Wan gave him that convinced him to follow his father's footsteps eventually. Yeah. So I don't think he would realistically ever do that.
Yeah, like, and I just want to make a statement that that's Anakin's lightsaber. That's not Luke's lightsaber.
It's not Rey's lightsaber.
That's Anakin's lightsaber. And it will always be Anakin's lightsaber. So yeah, that's all I want to say about that.
You can buy Rey's lightsaber
at Galaxy's Edge. It's just Anakin's lightsaber, but it has a little leather thing on it that she used to fix it. I don't know how leather can repair kyber crystal, but
who the fuck knows?
Whatever, who cares? But Yeah, they don't sell Anakin's lightsaber. They only sell Rey's lightsaber, and I want Anakin's lightsaber, but I refuse to buy Rey's lightsaber. If it's labeled as Rey's lightsaber, I'm not buying it. But I want Anakin's lightsaber so bad. But yeah, you can keep going.
But yeah, I would really want to talk about the new up and coming movies.
Oh yeah, the High Republic.
High Republic movies, yeah.
Yeah. So
what do you know about them so far?
Let me look this up or look at my notes real quick. I know it's 400 years before the Skywalker saga, which is good. Because there's going to be no, well, Yoda's going to be around and that's it. There's no other characters that we know.
He's not going to be as powerful though.
Yeah, he won't
because he's young.
Yeah, he's going to be like still learning and stuff. He won't be the old wise, like all powerful Jedi that we knew from the prequels.
Right.
And so there's going to be no like prior attachments to the characters. It's going to be all new characters, so there's going to be no expectations. So hopefully less complaints from the fans because really the main complaints from the sequels came from their characters being ruined in their eyes. So, yeah, the Sith Rule of 2 is going to be around. I don't think that the Sith are going to be the main villains because in the prequels, they were saying, Mace Windu and Yoda were talking, I think, and they were saying that the Sith haven't been around for 1,000 years. And if this is 400 years before the Skywalker saga, then there's no way the Sith can be around because then the Jedi would have known about it. But yeah, the Jedi are going to be... It's going to be kind of like the prequels. The Jedi are going to be like the overlords of the galaxy. And they're going to be like the police with lightsabers. Just like the prequels. And there's going to be no Sith. So I don't know who...
Now, will they be more powerful than the prequels? Or like more like prevalent?
Probably the same. I mean, I don't know how much more prevalent they can get.
I feel like they were more of a military force in the prequels.
I don't know, maybe during like the Clone Wars, but other than that, they were just nobody can really fuck with them. But I think for the High Republic, what they're gonna do, they're gonna set it in a different time period from the Old Republic, but they're gonna use the same character arcs. So they're gonna use different character names for Revan, all those people, Bane maybe, I don't know, and they're just gonna use the same character arcs with different names. So there's going to be no expectations for the characters and no preconceived notions of the characters.
Right.
But we'll still get the same character arcs that they know work. They know that those character arcs work. They know everybody loves them from the Old Republic games and stuff. And, I'm
excited to see Darth Revan if they actually have them.
Yeah, I just hope it's not Keanu Reeves. That's the only thing. I'm praying to God.
I wouldn't really complain, but he's still John Wick to me.
Yeah, but we'll talk about that after, but what do you think about the High Republic now?
Well, I didn't really know a lot about it. I knew a lot about the Old Republic because of the games and stuff like that, and I read some of the books. But
do you think it's a good decision that they made it 400 years before the Skywalker saga?
Yeah, I mean, because a lot of the lore for the Old Republic is already written and like set. Like even though it's legends, like people still know. Like a lot of the hardcore fans actually know like the story of it. So if they were just going to do that, like there would be a big chance for them to mess up or like have some inconsistencies that people would.
There's no possible way you can top the Old Republic in the fans' eyes because they have like the rose-colored glasses for that because it's kind of like the original trilogy, and I'm about to make some people mad, but if A New Hope came out today, it would be shat on like crazy because it's just like it's really good for 1977, but for 2020, it's not good.
Definitely.
But so like the Old Republic is really good because of the time period that it came out. I know this game's still being updated, the MMORPG or whatever, but from KOTOR, a lot of people have the rose-colored glasses because it's so long ago, and like if it came out today, it's not gonna top how you felt about it the first time. Like it's never gonna do that.
Definitely.
Just like how nobody liked the sequels because they expected to be a little kid again when they went and saw it, like they did for the original trilogy, like they did for the prequels.
Yeah.
And you're never gonna have that feeling again, like ever. So it's ruining your movie going experience by thinking that you are.
Right.
So it's really good that they chose to not do it in the exact time period as the Old Republic and doing it in an entire new one, and they can still use the same characters. So yeah. Yeah,
you can still use the same characters, different names, and I really hope they do a good job with it because I always wanted Old Republic movies. Like ever since I saw the trailers before I played the MMO.
Yeah.
Like the trailers are really good. Like they're really entertaining.
Yeah.
And like I know a lot of people said they wish they had full-fledged movies like that. So
I do.
I did too. Like that, it looked like real life, like the animation. Like
dude, I would love. Like I don't watch animated anything, but I would watch the shit out of that. Like
yeah,
that is
shit,
so good.
The action was good. Like they actually had story in the trailers. Like you could follow
and
along.
they didn't even talk much. Like they just showed people doing stuff, and like you could know what the story was the whole time.
Definitely. And
what was your favorite trailer?
My favorite one was the one where they had the Sith raid on the temple, like when they blasted through the doors.
Yeah.
Like it was just really like
when like all the Sith are in the plane or whatever.
Yeah, and then just open that shit and they come out like and just start killing everyone. Like that was like, damn, you only saw that. You only saw Anakin and Stormtroopers do that in the original movies, but like it's happened before, obviously.
That's
like,
what. See, I wish that the Sith Rule 2 wasn't in play for the High Republic stuff, because that's the type of stuff that we could get if it wasn't the Rule of 2. Like if there was just a million Sith and a million Jedi, like imagine like how cool that would be.
Well, I thought Rule of 2 was only Master and Apprentice.
Yeah, that's
right?
what I'm saying. Like if there was no Rule of 2 for the High Republic, then we could have like a million Sith versus a million Jedi, like because there's no Rule of 2.
Right. Okay, I get you.
So yeah, we could be seeing like armies of Sith and armies of Jedi going after each other. Like that would be so cool. But my favorite trailer was the Eternal Twins one. Yeah.
The Eternal Twins, dude, I totally forgot about it. Like I love that one.
Yeah.
I like the one where where they had the daughter, and then you remember that one where she, and then the mom was like fighting the people. That was cool too. I don't know a lot about that part of the
me either.
The story, but
I think they had one in a forest too, where it was like Sith versus Jedi.
Yeah, that was what planet was that? I don't even remember.
I don't know either, but that one was really cool.
I forgot.
But anyway, let's go back to the casting. Why would you be okay with seeing Keanu Reeves?
Because Keanu Reeves, like I don't know, I'm a fan of him. I like most of the movies he's been in, and he's like he has like an intensity to him, and I know Revan has intensity to him. And he's like a quiet, like his demeanor is like really calm, but he's like like he's pretty ruthless. So.
Yeah, there's like a underlying like understanding that he can fuck you up at any time, even though he's like super calm.
Yeah, and I think Keanu Reeves could pull that off.
Yeah,
pretty easily.
He definitely could. The only problem, if it was Keanu Reeves and Keanu Reeves had never done John Wick, Keanu Reeves had never done Matrix, then he would be perfect. But Star Wars has always done a great job at casting people that don't take you out of the movie.
Yeah, they cast people who you really haven't seen before.
Yeah, like most of the time, like especially the prequels. I mean, in the original trilogy, Harrison Ford was kind of a star. Carrie Fisher was kind of a star. Mark Hamill wasn't a star, but Hayden Christensen. I guess the biggest star in the prequels was Natalie Portman, but she didn't really have that big of a role. I mean, she was in the movies a lot, but not really that important.
She didn't really do much.
I mean, she's the reason that Anakin became Darth Vader, but
and she's hot, so
yeah, it's okay. But then even like Ewan McGregor, who is like a pretty big star now, even though it's kind of shocking how little work he gets. But he was nobody before that movie. Like I went to his IMDb the other day, and like I saw he had nothing before that. Like nothing that I've ever heard of before that. So Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen, that casting duo was like amazing. And like when you see Hayden Christensen, when you see Ewan McGregor, you think Obi-Wan and Anakin. You don't think any other person. And even you can make the argument that when you see Natalie Portman, you think Padme. I mean,
yeah. I mean, if you were growing up, that's the only thing I saw her in.
Right.
So,
but a lot of people see other things. But
yeah, I think. I mean, you could say the same thing for Adam Driver. Because, I mean, what movies was he in before? I don't really know.
Black Klansman. He was in some stuff.
That wasn't before, was it?
Yeah,
that was after.
Maybe not before The Force Awakens, maybe. Yeah, you're right. Not before The Force Awakens. But yeah, you're right. Before The Force Awakens, I don't think he was in.
He was in some plays, I think.
He was in some movies, but I don't think he was ever the star. Maybe one or two.
Yeah, but now he's on fucking SNL and shit. He's getting solid work. He has some good movies that came out.
In my opinion, he's the best actor in the world right now.
Really? You like him that much?
Yeah, he's the best.
He's a good actor. I do think so.
Going from... I know you haven't seen A Marriage Story yet, but that movie, just from the standpoint of his acting, like, it is just... Like, going from Kylo Ren to playing that guy in A Marriage Story is just ridiculous how good that guy is at acting. Like, going from an action hero to just a guy with so much emotion, and like he has to display so much emotion, like just sad, like just a normal dude.
Yep.
Like it's just crazy. I can't even describe how good it is. There's no way I can put it in words. But even in BlacKkKlansman, he's really good. But yeah.
So if you haven't seen his other stuff, you should definitely check it out.
Yeah, for sure. A Marriage Story is recommended. I can't recommend it enough. It's so good.
Definitely.
Even if you don't like sad movies, relationship movies, because I don't, but it's so good, dude. Like you have to watch it. You just have to. Just force yourself to sit down and watch it. It's so good. But yeah.
I'll have to watch it soon. I know you told me multiple times to watch it, but...
But yeah, that's the reason why I don't think Keanu Reeves should be casted, because he's just going to take you out the movie. It's kind of like the same reason why Hayden Christensen hasn't been casted, the same reason why Daniel Radcliffe hasn't been casted. Robert Pattinson just started getting casted. If you don't know, Daniel Radcliffe's Harry Potter. Robert Pattinson is the dude from Twilight.
He's a new Batman, right?
Yeah, he just started. He had to... Literally, all these actors have to work their way up in shitty movies with no budgets, and they have to like prove themselves like so many times before they get casted in another big movie,
right?
To prove that you're worth the face of another character from another movie being in your movie. Like Daniel Radcliffe has to prove that he is worth having in your movie, even though when people see you, it's Harry Potter. So you have to be that good at acting to go from Harry Potter to just another movie star. Like
yeah,
and it's the same thing with Hayden Christensen. And Keanu Reeves has kind of transcended that to where he has proven himself that he is worth it to most movie franchises. Like,
I think it's different about him is he started in like I don't know if he started in The Matrix. I don't know what movies before that,
so
but
long ago.
He was a well established of that. It became a cult classic, right? Then he was in like one or two bad like sequels to a movie. I don't remember what movie.
Bill and Ted?
Not Bill and Ted. It was
Bill and Ted before Matrix? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. I don't know if that was like a cult classic before that. I'm pretty casual movie watcher. But he was in one or two bad movies, and then he like basically got blackballed by Fox or some company, but he had to work his way back up. Like he
did.
He got cornered basically, and then but he worked his way back up, and then he got John Wick. So everyone knows him as John Wick now. But
he has transcended that.
He's slept on. I think like he's actually.
I don't think he slept on.
I mean, he was slept on, but but everybody likes him now. But I love him. I think he's really good.
Yeah, I think he definitely is 100%.
And if they choose him for Revan, like that would not bother me.
It would bother me just because, for one thing, I think it's a lazy choice. I think there has to be somebody out there that you can go discover, like how they discover Hayden Christensen.
There's definitely someone out there they could discover,
and it's like, why not do it? Like if you can have somebody, and Star Wars has the power to change like
people's lives, right?
Yeah, but not even like you don't do it just for the sake of doing it. You do it because they're a good actor. Like John Boyega had, I think, one other movie. I think it was Stomp the Yard or some shit. I forgot what that shit was called, but. And then Daisy really had nothing. She was like an actor in plays and shit on Broadway.
Right.
And then she goes to Star Wars. Her life is forever changed. Adam Driver would have made it anyway. But anyway, you have the power to make someone a movie star. And I think that you should go out and you should find an actor that can play Revan. Probably not as good as Keanu Reeves. Nobody's going to be able to be Keanu Reeves like Keanu Reeves can.
Yeah, he has all the experience playing intense characters like that.
But the thing is, when you play somebody like Revan, assuming he's going to have the mask. I mean, it's not going to be Revan. It's going to be somebody else, but same character arc as Revan.
Right.
Assuming he might have a mask. I don't know. Doesn't he sometimes have a mask and sometimes he doesn't?
Yeah, it depends on his fucking mind, I think.
So the thing is, Keanu Reeves is going to cost a lot of money. I know Disney, the money isn't a problem, but it's kind of a waste of money to cast somebody like Keanu Reeves.
Money they could spend on the movie.
Yeah.
So...
But it's a waste of money to cast somebody like Keanu Reeves when they're going to be behind a mask, and it's not.
We don't even know if Revan's going to be like the main.
Yeah, he's not. But just
focus,
hypothetically,
yeah,
he's not going to be in the movie. He's not.
I think they can make their own movie about him. Like he did enough in the story.
They could, but going back to what I said before, it's never going to live up to the hype. It's never.
Definitely not.
So I think that Disney's kind of done going back and retreading old ground. I think they're trying to make their own canon and make their own new saga. I think that's what this is going to be starting. It's going to be their attempt at the Skywalker saga. And I hope that they cast people that aren't recognizable.
But they have to be good.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of people think Hayden Christensen isn't good, but he's always going to be my example for people that are not recognizable. Like, when you see him, you see Anakin, and that's how it should be for all the upcoming Star Wars movies. So,
I mean, yeah, the general consensus should be Hayden Christensen played Anakin perfectly. I think he did great.
That's definitely not the general consensus.
It should be, is what I said.
I think it should be, too.
Because, I mean, most people, like, hardcore fans should know, like, he worked with what he had, the writing, and he worked really hard at making sure you could see him transitioning throughout all the movies. He knew from the beginning how it was going to end.
Yeah.
George Lucas told him, and he, like, you know, in episode 2, whenever he killed the Sand People and all that, like, he tried to put little, like, tastes of doubt and hate and, like, and like, that was good attention to detail as an actor, I think.
That scene after he kills the Sand People, that shit gets me every single time. Like, when he's like, they're like animals and I slaughtered them like animals, dude. That is, like, the best acting I've ever seen. Like,
yeah,
how can somebody hate that? How can somebody hate that? I watched it with my grandma, like, a couple months ago. And, like, it was her first time seeing Star Wars, and we watched all the movies. And when she saw that moment, she was like, wow, he's a good actor. And I, like, almost cried happy tears. I was, like, so happy. I was like, thank you. Like,
thank God someone actually acknowledges how good he is.
Because, like, when I see that moment, like, a lot of people, like, when they see it for the first time, they're sad because they see Anakin turn into the dark and all that shit.
Right.
When I see it, dude, I just smile, like, so big. I'm like, dude, like, this guy is a beast at acting. Like, you can't beat that. You can't beat that.
He did great. I loved it. I loved him in episode 3. That's why it's my favorite movie, because of him. So.
And also, it doesn't help that Natalie Portman kind of phoned it in. She didn't give a fuck about those movies.
Wait, what'd she do?
She phoned it in. Like, she didn't care. Like, she didn't try. Like, she made it clear that she didn't like those movies. Like, she didn't want to be in those movies.
They shouldn't have put that bitch in there.
She even, like, after she got casted, she made them send her all the scripts. Or before she signed the contract, she had to see all the scripts. Like, usually actors are, like, dying to get in movies and dying to work. And, like, if they get casted for something, they don't ask for the scripts, like, before they accept.
Right.
They'll do that after. But, like, she hated it so much that she wanted to see all the scripts and make sure her lines were okay. And, like, she didn't care about those movies at all. So having Hayden act next to somebody that doesn't care, and
still made it come together, though. Still made it feel pretty genuine.
Yeah, I mean, some moments you can see Natalie Portman not caring, but some moments, yeah, it's not that noticeable. But yeah, having Hayden act with bad writing, George Lucas is, like, you know, one of his first times writing a script,
right? And
act next to an actor that doesn't give a fuck. It's amazing what he was actually able to do. So
yeah, it's pretty. I feel like George Lucas is a good director, but not the best writer, in my opinion. Like, I know he wrote the original story and stuff, but, like,
yeah, I don't think he's a very good director either. I think he's like a visionary, though. He paved the way for a lot of other directors. I don't think he's the best director, but you got to give him credit. And you just gotta respect what he's done for the movie industry. Like, he's changed the game, man. Yeah,
game changer.
I don't think he's the best director, but I think he's the best storyteller ever.
His stories are really good. So,
but having somebody like Steven Spielberg direct for him or something like that, or even if Rian Johnson, I know I keep going back to Rian Johnson, but if he would, like, be a consultant for George Lucas, would consult for Rian Johnson and tell him what story should be told and let Rian Johnson run with that would be great. And I think that's kind of what The Mandalorian was. It was George Lucas was on set a lot for that, and Filoni and Favreau are kind of like disciples of George Lucas anyway, so they're always going to keep his vision intact with that. Okay, so we just got finished watching the Clone Wars Season 7 trailer right before this podcast, and Maul is back as a villain again, and I want to get your thoughts on Maul coming back again as the main villain of this 7th season.
I think it's It's overdrawn at this point. I think he's been around long enough. He did enough in the show.
I think so too.
He become the King of Mandalore at one point. I don't know if he still is.
No, he's not anymore.
But I don't keep up with the show. But I just think they could have did something else different, like use someone else. I
feel the same way. I think he's been in The Phantom Menace. He died there. He's been in Solo, useless cameo. He's been in Rebels. He died there. And now he's been in Clone Wars too, and now he's back again. And it just feels like lazy writing at this point. It feels like, I don't even know. It feels like, again, they think that we're just stupid and that we'll watch because it's Maul and like everybody loves Maul. But we really just want to see a good show. We don't really care what character's in it. We don't care about the nostalgia. We just want to see a good show. That's it.
I'm sure it's still gonna be good. Like, I want to see Anakin go to the dark side and the Clone Wars, see how they like handle it. I want to see what Ahsoka's gonna do. I don't know like how she's gonna react to it. But
we haven't really talked about it much, but they showed Padme pregnant.
Yeah, they did.
So that means that it's gonna bleed into Episode 3 because, I mean, unless she just gained a shit ton of weight or something.
It's gonna overlap with Episode 3. Like, they're gonna have their own rendition of what's happening. Probably see some stuff that you didn't see in Episode 3. So that's gonna be really exciting.
Some clones defecting and like the ones that took out their chips because they had clones.
Right? Didn't like Rex do that?
Yeah. You might see some of those. I think it's gonna be like. So this is what I think is gonna happen. I said this in a video already, but it didn't get too many views, so whatever. But I think it's gonna be focused on Ahsoka during Order 66, and there's gonna be probably 2 clones in Ahsoka's group that took out their chips. The rest of them didn't. Clones are gonna turn on Ahsoka, and then the clones that took out their chips are gonna save Ahsoka. They're gonna have to kill their brothers and all. It's gonna be super emotional and all that. But I think that's what's gonna happen. And then we're gonna see Ahsoka react to Anakin's turn. She's gonna like feel it through the Force or whatever, and she's gonna be all sad.
You think they're gonna fight him? I mean, they're gonna fight or no? Because I
don't think so. I think she's just gonna like. She might feel it. So in the Ahsoka book, she fights Maul in the very beginning. And I never read the book, so I don't know what happens. But I think maybe during the Maul fight, she might feel Anakin turn to the dark or something.
Yeah, that could be a factor.
And then we see her after. We see her in the trailer in the ship going through light speed, and she has like her hand on her forehead, looking real distraught. And she's either feeling Order 66 or she's feeling Anakin's turn right there. That's what I think. So yeah.
I hope it comes out to be a good ending season.
I think it will be. I just wish it wasn't Maul, but whatever. It's just Clone Wars. It's not like it's a live action movie. I don't really care that much.
The thing about it is, it's still more Star Wars to watch. So
exactly,
it's going to be pretty.
Still more Star Wars than we would have got if we didn't have it. So
you're right.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's it.
But I have high hopes for this ending season.
Me too.
I have to catch up on the show. It's been so long since I watched it.
Yeah, I watched most of the episodes. Don't remember anything really. I remember like the main story points.
But if you've seen the movies, you know how like the general gist of like probably what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, you're gonna miss some details and stuff, but
yeah,
who cares? All right, guys, that's gonna about wrap up our thoughts on Star Wars stuff this week. But next week we're probably gonna talk about a normal movie, and then have another segment where we talk about some more Star Wars stuff. I'm new to this, so I'm kind of just following Justin. And we're just going to see what we can do in regards to other videos and stuff like that. Hopefully, we can get some good stuff out. For sure. And I can start getting some videos out, see if y'all like it. So, I'm still getting comfortable with it and all that stuff. So,
yeah, it's his first time being like in front of the camera, talking to a microphone, all that stuff. So, yeah.
So, hopefully y'all like what I got to offer.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to try my best.
So, yeah, we'll be back next week for sure. I'll be posting videos more than that. And Nick will be posting videos soon, so make sure that you're looking out for Nick and my videos. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this first episode of the podcast. Most likely we're going to not be talking about Star Wars next week, but if there's something to talk about Star Wars related, then we're definitely going to talk about it.
Any new news and stuff like that.
Just anything new about Star Wars, but we don't want to focus this podcast solely on Star Wars. So we're going to be talking about, just movies in general. Yeah, you already put out a video a day on Star Wars stuff. You know, you get a lot of Star Wars content already. Right, so. You shouldn't feel like there's a shortage of Star Wars content if you're following this channel. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the first episode of the We Are Lost podcast. And I hope you join us next week for episode 2.
See y'all next week.